About 5 years ago, I lived downtown in a major city in the US. I've always been a night person, so I would often find myself bored after my roommate, who was decidedly not a night person, went to sleep. To pass the time, I used to go for long walks and spend that time thinking. I spent 4 years like that, walking, alone, at night. Never once had a reason to feel afraid. In fact, I used to often joke with my roommate that even the drug dealers in this city were rather polite. But all of that all changed in just a few minutes of a single evening. It was a Wednesday, somewhere between 1 and 2 in the morning, and I was walking near a police patrol park quite a ways from my apartment. It was a quiet night, even for a weeknight, with very little traffic and almost no one on foot. The park, as it was most nights, was completely empty. I turned down a short side street in order to loop back to my apartment when I first noticed him. At the far end of the street, on my side, was the silhouette of a man dancing. A very strange dance. Almost like a waltz, but after each box step, he took an odd forward slide. I guess you could say he was dance walking, headed straight for me. Deciding he was probably drunk, I stepped as close as I could to the road to give him the majority of the sidewalk to pass me by. The closer he got, the more I realized how gracefully he was moving. He was very tall and lanky, and wearing an old suit, he danced closer still until I could make out his face. His eyes were open wide and wild, head tilted back slightly, looking off at the sky. His mouth was formed into a painfully wide cartoon of a smile. Between the eyes and the smile, I decided to cross the street before he danced any closer. I took my eyes off him to cross the empty street. As I reached the other side, I glanced back and stopped dead in my tracks. He had stopped dancing. He was standing with one foot in the street, perfectly parallel to me. He was facing me, but still looking skyward. Smile still wide on his lips. I was completely and utterly unnerved by this. I started walking again, but kept my eyes on the man. He didn't move. Once I had put about half a block between us, I turned away from him for a moment to watch the sidewalk in front of me. The street and the sidewalk ahead of me were completely empty, luckily. Still unnerved, I looked back to where he had been standing, to find him gone. For the briefest of moments, I felt relieved, until I noticed him. He had crossed the street and was now slightly crouched down. I couldn't tell for sure due to the distance and the shadows, but I was certain he was facing me. I looked away from him for no more than 10 seconds, so it was clear that he had moved fast. I was so shocked that I stood there for some time staring at him, and he started moving towards me again. He took giant, exaggerated, tiptoed steps as if he were a cartoon character sneaking up on someone, except he's moving very, very quickly. I'd like to say that at this point I ran away, or pulled out my pepper spray, or my cell phone, or anything really, anything at all. But I didn't. I just stood there, completely frozen, as the smiling man crept towards me, and he stopped again about a car length away from me, still smiling his eerie, wide, crazy smile, still looking to the sky. When I finally found my voice, I blurted out the first thing that came to mind. What I meant to ask was, what do you want? In an angry, commanding tone. What came out was a whimper. What? Regardless of whether or not humans can smell fear, they can certainly hear it. I heard it in my own voice, and that only made me more afraid. But he didn't react to it at all. He just stood there, smiling. Then after what he felt like forever, he turned around very slowly and just started dance walking away. Just like that. Not wanting to turn my back to him again, I just watched him go until he was far enough away to almost be out of sight. And then I realized something. He wasn't moving away anymore, nor was he dancing. I watched in horror as the distant shape of him grew larger and larger and larger. He was coming back my way, and this time, he was running. I ran too. I ran until I was off the side road and back onto a better lit road on sparse traffic. Looking behind me then, he was nowhere to be found. The rest of the way home, I kept glancing over my shoulder, always expecting to see his stupid smile, but he was never there. I lived in that city for 6 months after that night, and I never went out for another walk. There was something about his face that always haunted me. He didn't look drunk. He didn't look high. He looked completely and utterly insane. And that's a very, very horrifying thing to see. Hey guys, so this is something fun to do. This is a game where the participants get the chance to meet the twin they've never known in life. It's a simple game to play really, but the repercussions can be overwhelming. The twin is a reflection of who you really are, not who you pretend to be. If you're a genuinely good person, your twin encounter will be pleasant and gratifying. But if you're a bad person, someone who bullies, lies, cheats, steals, manipulates, hurts other people, then your experience will be dark and painful. In order to play the game, you require the following: an empty closet, a lit candle, and a mirror. To start, hang the mirror. Any size will do really. Hang it on the wall that's at the opposite side of the closet door, so the door is being reflected when closed. With the candle already lit, walk into the closet and shut the door behind you. Look at the mirror. You'll see a reflection of yourself in the closed door. Knock on the mirror twice, just as if you're trying to knock on the closet door. Blow out your candle and knock on the mirror 2 more times. You'll hear the closet door open, but the door behind you is still shut. Next you'll hear breathing. The game has begun. In a calm voice, greet your own twin with a simple hello. Wait for the response. Afterwards, ask a simple yes or no question. They will answer. The twin will respond in 1 or 2 ways: a kind response or a hostile one. Good people will receive a kind hello in return for their greeting. Ask your question, and your answer will be whispered back to you. Shortly after, a sense of warmth and comfort will come over the player. The sound of a door shutting will signal the end of the game, as your twin has made contact, passed on their message, and left the closet. Bad people will receive an angry, animalistic snarl in response. If you try to ask a question, you will be answered with scratches or bites from your twin. A bone-chilling cold will fill the closet, and a sense of impending doom will bring about an unshakable feeling of dread that will linger for hours. You'll hear the sound of the closet door slamming shut, and the mirror will fall off the wall, shattering into pieces. When you leave the closet, be sure to take the mirror with you, intact or broken. If you leave the mirror behind, you'll be plagued by your twin's voice calling out to you and knocking on walls until you remove the mirror. This game reveals a lot about a person's soul. So who are you really? Well, why don't you find out? Player, beware.
Killed it, it's murder, go crazy, berserker. I killed it, it's murder, go crazy, berserker. I killed it, it's murder, go crazy, berserker.